Today's called Putting Ourselves in Parents' Shoes, and I thought it was a little bit strange that I had Nike trainers on today. One of the first board meetings I went to when I became a parent governor at RGS, one of the people said, Julie, good to meet you. Have you been for a run? No, it's just the shoes that I wear. So, maybe that says something about parents changing and maybe not being as traditional as what they once were. Now, today, obviously, I'm in front of a very expert audience of orators. So hopefully I'm going to be able to compete with your assemblies on the morning and the speeches that you do too. So, other button. So my name's Julie Drummond. As I was introduced, I am Chief Exec of Drummond Central, and we're essentially an ad agency. So we create brands, ad campaigns, brand stories, and these are just some of the campaigns that we've worked on. My job can also get a little bit crazy, and one of the things that happened just over a year ago for us was the Drummond Puddle Watch. Now, some of you, I can see, may know about this. Some of you may think, what on earth is she talking about? But our agency at the time were experimenting with Periscope that has since been bought by Twitter, and we simply filmed people trying to get over a puddle. So some of them would walk, they would go around the side, they would do very different things. And this, for some reason, became a global phenomenon. And these are some of the results that we got there. We actually broke Periscope. And Jack Dorsey, who's the CEO of Twitter, thank you for us for finding a use for Periscope and increasing his share price that day as well. So my life can get a little bit crazy. But I'm not here today because of Drummond Central, and talking when Michelle and Rosemary were talking before about parent governors, I have to admit I am a parent governor, and I am a parent governor because of these guys, my eldest and my youngest. But I believe that I was asked to become a parent governor because I knew good board governance, and I was also heads on other boards as well. So I had a sort of very good skill set there too. But the board at RGS, I'm a parent governor at RGS in Newcastle, realised that they had a gap in the board skill set. And that was in the form of a marketing expert. And since my background is brand and marketing, I fitted that bill. And I do think that if you are a governor who is a parent or a parent governor, that gives you a unique perspective to have an external perception of what the school is like, and then also that internal perception. And this is the crucial point that I would like to talk about today. How you think you are perceived and how you are actually perceived can be, in the majority of cases, two very different things. Now, I could take far longer to talk on this subject today. I only have 20 minutes here, so I've distilled this down into 4 key areas. Number 1, to put brand and marketing communications at almost the top of your to-do list. Not before exam results, I understand that, but number 2 on your to-do list. Number 2, this doesn't need a big budget to do this. Thirdly, you need to make sure that you're going to take everyone along for the ride. And finally, don't be a lemming. So, obviously, I am from an ad background, a marketing background, so I would obviously say that a focused communication strategy is the most important thing for any organisation, no matter what industry you are in. But that doesn't mean a pretty logo. It doesn't mean fantastic colorways or some good photography. It is far more important than that. For me, it's about your purpose as an organisation. What is your vision as an organisation? And are you going to communicate that effectively? So, marketing is how we communicate to all stakeholders. But this is not just in terms of academic results. We know that they are really important. But equally as important are those softer messages that then actually frame those exam results as well. We are all here because we realise the importance of a child's education. That goes without saying. But surely the way we talk about education is equally as important. So, a key to a brand's success is the ability to stand out, the ability to create shortcuts through the complexity of that decision-making. So if you're a parent, why should I send my child to that particular school? If you're a teacher, why should I work at that school? If you are considering supporting bursary or alumni, why should I support your school? You all know that you do an exceptional job. However, apart from those Ofsted ratings or exam results, how do people externally perceive your school? Are you known for the right reasons, and are they on the same page as you? So, what's very important is to make sure that you're telling the right stories to the right people. That's crucial. Is that message simple for them to understand? Is it relevant to them? Is it going to be meaningful, distinctive? Is it shareable? Is it something that they are going to be able to talk to their friends or colleagues about as well? So to help a little bit, these are the questions that you need to ask as an organisation, as a school. Ask yourself, what do we truly stand for? What do we want to be known for externally? What's our ambition? What value do we create? And ultimately, how do we behave? And I come back to this message between the difference between perception and reality. Those perceptions externally will become reality if you don't address them, if you don't tackle those. Now, number 2, it all sounds great to be able to put into place some sort of brand strategy or communication strategy, but that all sounds quite expensive. And people think, well, we'll need to bring in a consultant to do that. We need to make sure we've got an agency to do that. And sometimes the budgets can be available and other times not. But I don't necessarily need to think that you need to go out to a consultant like Drummond Central or whoever as well. So I'm doing myself out of a job here, but I think you are perfectly intelligent and capable of doing this on your own. And for me, it's usually the lack of the marketing skill or expertise. So I've put this word cloud together, and for me, these are the sort of skills that would be really useful for you to have on your board. So why not simply recruit an awesome marketing specialist onto your board to help you do that? You do the same for accountants, so why not here as well? Ask them to help, and that can be in the sphere of whether that's brand consultancy, ad agency, digital agency, PR guru. There are lots of different specialisms where marketing comes under that remit. And if you looked at your governing body at the moment, your board, you will probably find these guys: accountants, lawyers, educationalists, HR specialists, and property specialists as well. But I think that the marketing person is usually the last person to be thought to be important. And I think that needs to change. Now, traditionally, marketing has never been high up on the agenda, and I think it should be. And The reason that I feel as though marketing is so hard done by is goes back to my childhood, because my dad was a scientist, and he invented and developed drugs. Helped develop this one, actually. Some of you may be aware of it. He was the biggest cynic of marketing people. He would invent a cool tablet, and it would do something pretty amazing. And he would be told, "That's fantastic, but can you make it blue? Can we print on it? Can we make it into a diamond shape?" And he'd be coming home with his head in his hands saying, "What are they doing? It is a perfect tablet. Why are they wanting to do these things?" But what I say is, you can have the best product in the world. You can have the cure for the common cold. But unless you communicate the relevant benefits to the relevant people, it means absolutely nothing. And it's exactly the same for your school. So we need to make sure that the message is relevant and it gets to the right people at the right time. That is ultimately going to minimize wastage. It's going to keep you focused, and then the budget that you have will work far harder. Number 3, bring everyone along for the ride. Now, before I became a governor for RGS in Newcastle, I was considering a senior school for my son. And obviously I was aware of RGS. He was sitting the entrance exam along with other very good schools within the northeast, within Newcastle. But my perceptions of RGS were, yes, it was academically excellent. It was a very ambitious school, but it was also, from the conversations that were going on with parents and in my mind as well, regimented, strict, hard even. If you weren't successful, you would get left behind. That potentially pupils could be overworked or even pushed as well. But I did realise that obviously it was academically high achieving. My son could cope with that. I thought maybe we were good parents and could give him that kindness at home. Potentially. Not always though, because he is going into teenage land. But when he actually got there in his first year, the experience was completely different. It was perceptive, and this is not just one teacher, this is almost all teachers. It was nurturing. There was a real feel of camaraderie, of teamwork. There was a lot of ambition, yes, but pulled alongside that was inspiration and a real thirst for learning. There was a real encouraging atmosphere. No one was getting left behind. Now, how could my perception externally be so different to that wonderful experience internally? So the reality of the qualities, of which I would have loved to have known as a parent, yes, ambitious, but caring, nurturing, and considerate, and my child being well prepared for adult life, there was a disparity there, and that absolutely needed addressing. And then being able to ask to be part of the board meant that that was something I could look at. So, internal communication is the lifeblood to any organisation. It's the thread that holds anything together. And without that, you lose hearts and minds. So you have to make sure that you bring all of those internal stakeholders along with you. External communications is how you communicate with society. And I think that a lot of time, you as schools will think, well, that is parents, that is prospective parents. But I believe it's far more than that. It's the community at large. It's the education industry. It's the business industry. It's all of those target sectors that interact with you. So, internal and external communications are vital ingredients for success. And you need to understand the relationship between the two things and make sure that they are saying the same things. ultimately, there needs to be a shared culture. Not just for the heads, the parents, the pupils, but all of the stakeholders that I've mentioned there as well. Each one is crucial to making sure that they understand what your vision for that school is and how it is relevant to them, what benefits it is going to give to them. And again, going back to this theme of the difference between perception and the reality, how you think you are perceived and how you are actually perceived are two very different things. So, to my final point, don't follow the crowd. Now, to save any embarrassment, here's one I created earlier. And it's for a school in a local lifestyle magazine, alongside all of the other adverts of schools within the area of lifestyle magazines. All saying the same thing, all with happy photographs of children, all with that inspiring headline, an exceptional education here, inspiring education for life. But if you took that logo away from the majority of the ads, I am really sorry to say, you will hardly notice what school is what. They are all saying the same things, 99% of the time. What I urge you to do is find out what you truly stand for, what truly differentiates you, and then make sure that you communicate that and make yourself different. Be brave. Don't just be one of those ads in the magazine that is putting that ad in to do what you have always done. Think differently. So if you had mediocre exam results, would you settle for those mediocre exam results? You definitely wouldn't. You want to make sure that you excel academically in every single way. So why do we, as an industry, settle for mediocre communications? We are ambitious people. We want the best for our pupils. So why don't we actually communicate in the best way that we can too? Now, at RGS, we set up a working group to look at our vision as a school, and we're just going through that process at the moment. And we made sure that we included the majority of those stakeholders onto that group as well. We included 2 pupils, and those 2 pupils on that working group have been more insightful, more useful, more intelligent, more genuine than anyone else on that group. We've had more inspiration from them than we had from anyone. Sorry about that, Bernard. They are your biggest asset, and when it comes to genuine messages and finding out what you truly stand for, my one suggestion is to listen to them and to make sure that you include them in the process, because they usually have the right answer. So, keep your communications genuine and honest, and hopefully I've been able to impart some useful information for you today. Thank you very much.